My Lords, it's a pleasure to follow the Noble Earl Canul and to throw in some good news about grey squirrels, which is the increasing spread of pine martens, which early evidence is showing having a positive impact in reducing grey squirrel populations through natural means. I thank the Noble Lord Trees both for securing this crucially important debate and for his expert introduction to it. And I join others in welcoming the Noble Lord the Minister to the front bench and your Lordship's House. I'm sure we will in the future have many debates discussing driven grouse shooting, but not today. We're speaking in what is now an age of shocks. We have the climate emergency, the collapse in biodiversity. We have choked our planet in plastic and other novel entities like pesticides and pharmaceuticals. Our biogeochemical flows are hopelessly out of balance. We've exceeded so many planetary limits. And within that environment, diseases present far more threats than they have in the past. Biosecurity is now a much more pressing issue. And in bringing the green approach to this debate, I think it's really important to stress the precautionary principle and the sense that what will protect us ultimately is a healthy natural world, healthy people, a healthy environment, the One Health approach which has already been mentioned several times. If we think about many of our crops, our plants, we have actually bred them in ways that have removed their natural protections. We need to have a diversity of crops. We need to look at natural ways in which we can actually manage the threats that are presented. Now, I think during COVID, we were all, acutely aware of the phrase that no one is safe until everyone is safe. But I very much fear that since then, the acknowledgement that we need a healthy world and humans to be able to be healthy all around the world has really slid off the agenda. And of course, with the cuts to the official development assistance, it's certainly seen the UK doing a lot less. And I think vaccine inequality is one of the issues that absolutely needs to be put on the agenda here. And just one statistic that might shock your Lordship's House, still in low-income countries, fewer than 25% of people have had even a single COVID vaccination. And that's despite all of the wonderful scientific discoveries, the effort that was made. The effort has not been shared around the world, and that's a huge problem for us all. And I think we're tempted to think, and I'm sure we've already heard and we'll hear a great deal more, of the ideas that biosecurity means we've essentially got to put up walls to keep these threats out. And of course, that is something we have to do. And when we're thinking about, mention has already been made of food security, there has traditionally from this government and others been a belief that, well, we don't really have to worry about producing our own food, we'll just import it from around the world. That is a huge risk, as has already been referred to with the example of African swine fever by the Noble Lord Trees. This is a security issue for all of us to ensure that we don't import more food than is absolutely necessary. But if we build these walls to keep them out, to keep out the biosecurity threats, we know if we think of the example of flooding that the risk with a flood wall is ultimately if it's overtopped, if you've built it very high, the impacts are very great. And so what we have to do when we're talking about biosecurity is think about the security of the whole world. But we've also got to think about the security of our own environment from the One Health approach. And a question to the Noble Lord the Minister. The absolutely crucial, we still don't have the UK National Action Plan for Sustainable Use of Pesticides. And if we're thinking about a healthy environment in the UK, that's absolutely crucial. And also, if we think about a healthy environment around the world, so many actions in the UK are having massive impacts. There's many members of your Lordship's House who are champions of efforts to prevent deforestation. Deforestation is an absolutely crucial contributor to damage to One Health in terms of the spread of human and animal and potentially also plant diseases. And I will certainly, had a meeting yesterday and will be bringing very much to your Lordship's House in future, the idea that we have to have all of our companies, all of our supply chains, there needs to be a duty to prevent environmental damage and human rights damage. And those things are also a biosecurity issue. We need to see this in a holistic way. And I think we've also got to look at thinking about the whole issue, looking at the themes here, of diversity is the key to health. And one of the things we're seeing is the great microbial extinction, something that's only really come to scientific attention in the last year or two. That's a real threat to the balance, to the rise of diseases as we've taken away beneficial microbes. Now, I could mention many, many diseases here, but I think I want to finish by focusing particularly on the threat that is presented to all of our health and to animal health of factory farming. Now, we've already talked a great deal about antimicrobial resistance, and I believe that it is the threat of antimicrobial resistance that will demand the end of factory farming. But I think we also need to look, when people talk about factory farming, they're usually thinking on land. UK salmon farming, we've actually seen a significant increase in antibiotic use in that. And that's literally broadcasting antibiotics into the sea, into the world, to spread around the world. Such behaviour has to stop.